We all love free stuff because who doesn't? Have you ever wondered if you could get free stuff just like all the celebrities out there from some of the top brands in the world? So one way you could theoretically do that is through dividend investing, which would obviously not be like just getting something for free. You would obviously have to put some money down as investment. Then you would get free money to buy those products. So let's go through how much money you would need to invest to achieve this and if it is even going to be worth it in the long term. So I've put together 8 companies that offer products that we all love to see how much you would need to invest to get their best products for free. So number 1 on the list has to be Apple, one of everyone's favorite companies. And we're just going to start with a simple iPhone. Well, like a decent iPhone, like let's say the new iPhone Pro, for example. So let's say it's around $1,000 on average. Apple has a dividend yield of around 0.5% annually. So for you to get a free iPhone every year, you would need to invest around $200,000 in Apple. And this would probably be a pretty good investment if your portfolio is way bigger than 200,000 to make sure that you're diversified, because over the last 5 years, if you had invested this 5 years ago, you'd be getting free iPhones along with capital gains of just under 400%. So you would pretty much 5x your money and get a free iPhone every year. Apple gets a thumbs up from here. Nothing in this video is financial advice, by the way. This is just for entertainment purposes. Second up on the list is Sony. To get a free PS5, or the newest PlayStation or whatever, which let's say would be around $500, with an annual dividend yield of around 0.57%, a little more than Apple, you would need to invest just under $90,000 and you would get a free PS5 every year. And would this investment be good or not? Over the last 5 years, it's risen just over 100%, so you would pretty much get a free PS5 and double your money over 5 years, theoretically speaking, if it continued the same trajectory that it's been on in the past. Next up on the list is BP, and I did make a TikTok about BP before about how you could dividend invest to have your electricity bills paid, but this time we're looking at petrol for your car. Annually, on average, people spend around $1,200 a year on petrol, according to Google. With a dividend yield of just under 5%, you would need to have invested around $24,000 into BP. Would this be a good investment? Maybe not so much, because over the last 5 years it went down 12.05%, but it has its ups and downs, so depending where you bought it, you could be benefiting or you could not be benefiting. Number 4 on the list is Microsoft. Microsoft has many different products, but I thought let's go for the Xbox to put it up neck to neck with a PS5 or a new PlayStation or whatever. So an Xbox, also around $500, with a dividend yield of 0.76%, a bit higher than Sony, would need to have an investment of around $65,000 to get a free Xbox every year. And Microsoft is actually an amazing investment, and over the last 5 years it's risen over 270%, around 3 to 4 times your money and a free Xbox every year. Number 5 on the list, PepsiCo. So I personally don't really drink Pepsi or Coke or fizzy sugary drinks like this, but I know that everyone else does. So I thought it'd be very appropriate to add this in here. So for you to have a can of Pepsi around almost every day with a dividend yield of just over 3% would require an investment of just under $10,000. I mean, that's how much Pepsi costs in a minibar of any hotel, so that gets a thumbs up from me. Last 5 years performance of Pepsi, around 51% gain. So, okay, you got a 50% gain, what's not to like about that? A 50% gain and bad health. Great. Next up, I wanted to include something related to real estate, like rent or living expenses like that. I just searched for the best REIT because I generally could not find a good REIT at all. Like whenever I looked, I couldn't find any. According to Google, one of the best ones is Unity, UNITI. Their dividend yield is around just over 11%. And the average rent in a year in the US or maybe even in the UK is around $20,000 a year. So that would need an investment of just under $180,000. But this would be probably not a very good investment, because over the last 5 years, just as I thought, it lost 71.6% in capital loss, I guess. Probably don't want to do that, just pay your rent, I guess. And the last two categories, clothing and a car. So clothing, I chose TJX. I felt like it's something, you know, in the middle, not too high end, not too low end. If in a year people spend just under $2,000 a year on clothes, like just average kind of clothes and things like that, with a yield of 1.4%, you would need to have invested just under $140,000. And this surprisingly would turn out to be a good investment, judging by the past 5 years, which it pretty much gives you just under 100% capital gains. So you pretty much double your money and have free clothes for the year. And then you can use the capital gains to go and buy from higher end clothing. And the last but not least, my favorite category is the car. And I had to pick BMW for this, with a dividend yield of 9.31%. And let's say an average BMW for around $50,000, you would need to invest a whopping $537,000 to get a free $50,000 BMW every year. Honestly, that's worth it. And the last 5 years, it went up 24%. So when I have an extra $500,000, maybe I'll just buy a car for $500,000. But there you have it. If you want more categories that I didn't include, let me know. This was just a little fun video for once. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe, and see you next week.